Hoop Dreams, the podcast, an Unlearning Network production.
With us today, we got a special guest, Agee.
Yes.
Straight out of Chicago. We talking about Chicago, Illinois. A two-time, not one time, a two-time WNBA champ, a WNBA Finals MVP, a seven-time All-Star, three-time First Team selection, a All-Defensive First Team, picked 2006 was the All-Rookie Team, the 2003 Big East Rookie of the Year, and a member of the USA Gold Medal Team at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. And oh yeah, she got a few Turkish national championships up her sleeve too. And we ain't done yet. She was voted, my God, she was voted by the fans as one of the top 15 WNBA players of all time. We want to welcome to the show the one, the only, a true Chicago legend, Cappie Pondexter to the Hoop Dreams podcast. I'm Will Gates. That's my dog,
Arthur Agee, and we want to bless our sister, Cappie Pondexter, to the show.
What's up, guys?
Cappie, I ain't gonna even lie, but I'm geek. I know you could tell from my emails I sent you. I'm geek. Now,
Yeah.
I do got one caveat. Since you and Agee got that Marshall love, don't y'all dump on me today. That's all I'm saying. Don't crack me with that Marshall, all that. You see Agee got on all that maroon and gold today. But
Hey, man, you know I had to rep for my girl, man. That's our baby sis right there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Cappie, again, we are so excited to have you on the show. So let's just jump right into this thing. I typically ask, when was the first time that you have seen the movie? But I want to make that my second question for you. My first question for you is, what is Chicago basketball to you?
It's a representation of what Hoop Dreams is all about. You know what I mean? Because you think about it, like, our city has been plagued with gun violence since the beginning of time. And being able to go out on the court and hoop is the only thing that we really had to really kind of let go from that lifestyle. It was the only thing to have. So when I think about Chicago hoops, I think about that. We had a city that was plagued with violence, but on the other hand, we had basketball courts outside that we can go and hoop on. You know what I'm saying? So I just think about those two things, and I think about just how important it has been for the city and for kids that grew up in Chicago to have the courts. You know what I'm saying? Because without those courts, there wouldn't be a me, there wouldn't be a lot of other people out there. So that's what I think about Chicago basketball.
That's fire. That's fire.
Great answer.
And then let me hit you with the second question. Tell us about the first time, because you're a little younger than us. So tell us about the first time you saw Hoop Dreams. Where were you? Were some folks with you?
I was in class in school, actually in Marshall, the first time I saw it. I can't remember what class it was in, but we was watching a documentary in class. And it was a great documentary. You can see it's legendary. It's still being played today in high schools all around the country because it's a legendary documentary. And you two, obviously being the face of it, it just speaks volumes.
We go back, way back, and when you talk about them playground courts, your whole game was a little different when you came into Marshall. So we already know what the movie did for you in terms of, the legendary program that you played for and the legendary coach that you played for. She just grabbed a pit bull and just let her loose. I mean, I tell guys, you used to play with the guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would play with the guys and then go downstairs to practice with your team. And I always tell people, I said, she had a WNBA tattoo on her in high school. If that ain't prophesizing something at an early age, it's early stage of WNBA, but you was like, put that on me. I'm getting there. Watch.
Yeah, I mean, like most people, they criticize me for getting it at an early age
Did
because
they?
they didn't understand my vision. Because they didn't understand my vision, but at the same time, it was prophesizing. It's just something that I dreamed about doing all my life,
Mm-hmm.
and to have it on my shoulder was just a remembrance. To no matter like if you have those downtime, those moments where you feel like you can't
Mm-hmm.
make it, it was just my remembrance to me that nah, you can make it, you can dream, you can accomplish it. And so that's why I got the tattoo in the first place. And it's crazy now that I think about it that I actually did accomplish it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's
You lived the hoop dreams without a doubt. But since we know that you are this amazing talent, beautiful sister, take us back to the origin story. Take us back to your childhood, where you was born at in Chicago, what neighborhood you lived in, what was it like growing up, Cappie Pondexter?
I was born in Oceanside, California, but I came here. I came to Chicago early, and I went to elementary school at Chicago Westside Christian School on the West Side on Pulaski. And I started playing basketball there, really, but it wasn't no team because it wasn't no other Christian schools on the West Side that we can compete against. So I started playing small fry with Miss Foster. That's how I really got going, is playing small fry with Miss Foster. And then after that, Frederick Eaton from the YMCA, Austin YMCA, saw me play, and he recruited me to play. And then that's how I ended up getting a Marshall seat with Miss Gators.
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it all started because I wanted to impress my brother. He was the basketball player. You know, a lot of people know Ron Brown, slow motion.
Slow motion, baby.
It all started with him. I wanted to impress him more than anything.
Really?
Yeah, he had to babysit me, like after school. And so I was always running on his games on the court. I was always running between in and out of their games. And one of his friends was like, he was kind of frustrated that I was like messing up their game. And so my brother set me on the sideline and they threw me to basketball. And ever since then, I was just trying to impress him and show him that I could play too.
That's what's up. Hey, Cap, hold on. Let's stop for a second. We got to give Cappie brother Ron slow motion some love. This dude, and I want you to speak on this too, Cappie, because we always talk about, who put the ball in your hand, how did you fall in love with the game? And for him to be babysitting you as his little sister, and you coming, he taking you to his games and stuff, you running on the court, and you want to impress him and all that. But your brother was a real ball player. When we talk about real ball players in Chicago, this dude was a real ball player. Did you kind of like take a bit of his game and put it with yours?
For sure. I studied him a lot. A lot of people don't know he had scholarships to Michigan, Duke, all that. But it's just unfortunate that he didn't take it. He got sidetracked into some other things. But yeah, Rondo, man, he was a baller. He taught me he showed me Michael Jordan. And we studied Michael Jordan a lot.
We see your fadeaway. We
Absolutely. Fade away, the up and unders, the crossovers, the pull back, the steps back. I mean, Cappie game is unlimited. But Cappie, tell us about your family though. I mean, we just talked a little bit about your brother, but mom, dad, are there any other younger Cappies, older Cappies out there, sisters?
Oh, I have a auntie. Her name was Cappie as well. We got the same first, middle, and last name. My dad named me after his older sister, and my dad was in the Marines, and so my mom, while he was out in service, my mom took care of me and my brother. I come from a great family, man. My dad, he played baseball and football in the Marines. My mom ran track, but nobody played basketball. It was just me and my brother. We were the first two to actually play basketball. But they all grew up in Chicago as well.
So who put that ball in your hand then?
My brother, Ron,
He said, "Here, just go in the corner."
And so I started dribbling, trying to show him that I could dribble as well. And it just became a day thing, and I got obsessed with it. And I started to fall in love with the game from there.
I got this question for you. Remember the movie Brown Sugar with Taye Diggs, Sanaa Lathan? And they asked this question, when did you fall in love with hip hop? When did you fall in love with the game?
I would say 10 years old is when I really fell in love with it. Cause I was hooping with Miss Foster, and that was my first time having a coach. She was yelling at me, but I could take it. And I was amped. I was like, okay, this is what I need to get better.
Yeah.
I like this. Like I was all for it. That's when I could say I really fell in love with the game.
Big shout out to Miss Lauren Foster, man, another Chicago legend. Probably every kid or grown-up now that you see that have some type of athletic ability or play overseas or do anything, I guarantee you they probably went through Miss Foster's Small 5 program because she didn't have the Jerome Randalls, Summer, everybody, and they all say the same thing. She coaches and teaches tough love.
Mm.
Like, she not going to let you settle. She going to be on your ass, and she going to make sure you like, yo, I'm just going to be like this every day, so come back tomorrow. And she going to make you not just one-dimensional. She always talk about, she said, you're going to be able to shoot, pass, dribble, and the confidence grows from there. Every kid that I've seen her coach.
She's just that coach, man, with that ability to get whatever it is that the kid has inside of them. She brings it out of the kids. And she brought it out of me at an early age. So I was competing early with her.
WNBA legend Cappie Pondexter. Let me ask you this. You an athlete. I mean, you had that walk, you had that talk. Even though you soft-spoken, though. I'm like, Cappie soft-spoken, but when she playing, she a different beast out there on the floor. What other sports did you play, or was basketball your only sport?
I did. I ran cross country.
Really?
I was a cross country girl. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that explains your first step.
It wasn't no joke, though. I did it for conditioning. For basketball season. So, like, but I enjoyed it, though. It was hard competition, but I enjoyed it, and I used it to help me be a better basketball player.
Mm. Like you said, we talked about the courts, and back in the day, Marshall, Chicago had a lot of courts, you know what I'm saying? Moore Park, Franklin Park. Where was that court at for you where it was it was a safe haven, and you felt like, I got to go get this therapy. I need to be outside and play against some dudes, and I need to be at this court. What was the courts at for you that you used to ball at?
I used to ball at BBF, and I used to ball at Lathrop Park.
Yeah, right there on home.
Yeah, those was the two courts that I went to the most.
And was there some good games out there?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of competition, man. It was rarely any girls out there, so the only competition I had was against the fellas.
Wow.
I was thinking, I said, man, how am I going to ask this question? Because I don't know if you had a player that you had to overcome. Because typically we ask the question, hey, who's that player that you had to beat to know that you arrived? But I look at you as like the standard. I really want to know, who did you say I need to be like? Because you've come out of a school with some great players. There's a lot of great women basketball players that come out of Chicago high school basketball. So which one of those did you say, I need to get to that level too?
When I came out of Marshall, I would say Kim Williams, man. She had that game like, man, a lot of people don't even know who she is, but Kim Williams' game.
Yeah.
Kim Williams was cold.
Do you remember her nickname?
She was a cold basketball. Nah, what? Cat Eyes?
They used to call her Lady Jordan.
Man, she played like Jordan.
And that's what we said when we saw you. We was like, yeah, Cappie got some Kim Williams in her.
Absolutely.
I definitely watched her, and she was one of Miss Gator's favorite players too. That she coached, and she was just one of those players that I really admired her game because she didn't play like a girl.
Nope.
Neither did you.
I know. Growing up on the West Side, man, like it wasn't a lot of female basketball players around like that in my era. You know what I mean? The only competition we had was against the fellas.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had to up my game up to even be on the court. I wanted to be on the court, so I had to make sure that I was playing as tough as I could to make sure that I'm able to be on the court with the guys. You had to up your game up. No matter if you was a female or a male, you had to play your best basketball.
What you think Miss Gators would have did as a coach in the WNBA?
I think she would have did the same thing. She just would have been winning. She coached us like a professional team. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way she coached. That was always her approach. It was very professional.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel like I was so much ahead of, like, so many people when I went to college, because I was coached by a very elite coach. Coach Gators knew the game inside and outside her.
I got two questions for you, Cappie. The first one is a really quick question. Do you remember your wins and losses in high school? How many wins versus how many losses?
No, I don't remember.
I want to let you know you didn't lose very many.
What was our record?
Oh, gosh. Your record, I think the last time I checked, if Wikipedia is correct, I think you all went like 125-10. I think you lost a total of 10 games in high school in 4 years.
Wow.
That's like insane. That's like insane. 10 games total. But what I want to do is every player, Cappie, has that moment when you just have that game where you killed it from the beginning to the end. And at that moment, you knew you was ready for the next level. What was that game for you?
It was during the Christmas tournament, Nike Invitational tournament that they had up at DePaul. And I think I scored like 56, 58, something like that.
Damn.
I was like, and all the college coaches was in the building. I was just like, man, it's time for me to pick my school and stop.
She said 50, 58.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. I remember I had my Jordan 13s on too.
Oh. Legendary.
Well, how was that recruiting process for you? I mean, at this point, Cappie, you big time, you a household name. How did you sit down and begin to filter that process?
Well, it was the first time for my family, so that was kind of different for us. But luckily, we had Miss Gators who had been through the process already. You know what I mean? So she made the process so much easier for me. In choosing the school, she gave me the free choice to pick, and go wherever I wanted to go. She just made sure, she just told me the truth about the system and how every coach is going to do their best to kind of get you to come to their program. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's what's going to happen. She was just real about the situation. And ultimately, I picked 5 great schools. I picked USC. I picked UNLV. I picked Temple, I picked UConn, and I picked Rutgers. But I was recruited by every university in America. Those were my 5 schools, but ultimately it was really between UConn and Rutgers.
How many visits you took?
I took 4 visits. I didn't go to UConn. I went to every other school except for UConn. And then I chose Rutgers. I was already schooled on what to think about it because Coach Gators had already put me on game.
Right.
I was just enjoying the process of it all and just sitting back and seeing how they would treat me if I didn't want to do certain things or if certain things didn't matter to me. Like I really didn't care about all the extra curricular activities that they had planned for us.
So what pushed it over the edge for Rutgers over Connecticut?
Honestly, I would say the mother factor. Like my mom, single parent mom, basically Coach Stringer, she just reminded me of that mother figure that I needed in my life. I think that's what won me over to Rutgers instead of UConn. And not to say that Gino wasn't a fit for me, because he was my second choice. But I just thought that it was a better fit for me at Rutgers with Coach Stringer.
That's interesting that you do have 2 similar coaches, and Coach Gators and Coach Stringer, because their mannerisms and things are alike too. But my question for you is, and this is really for a lot of our young women that will listen to the show, up and coming young ballers for the show. What is it like being a woman ball player at Rutgers University? I mean, you're out there in the big city again. Did the women get the same type of benefits? Did you see any differences when you were in school between the men and women's program?
It was just one of them instances where the women program was bigger than the men program. Again, the men program was still trying to find its way. The women program had just came off a Final Four appearance as I was being recruited, so it was a little different. They was getting a lot of the pub and publicity at Rutgers and nationally. So it was a little bit different. But other than that, I think both teams were treated equally. Rutgers is just a great all-around school, not just for basketball, but academically. So,
Yeah.
they preached both things. It wasn't just about basketball.
Sitting there in the heart of the Big East. I mean, you
I know.
was the Big East when it was still the Big East,
I know that, and it was fun too. Big East was competitive every night, and then especially when we had to compete against UConn, we gave them a tough time. We gave them a hard time.
Yeah.
Now, who was on those Connecticut teams when you were playing? Like, who would have been your teammates if you would have went there?
Barbara Turner and I can't think of her last name. Dang. It's been so long ago, man. You gotta excuse me, but I don't. And Strathers. Those are the two names that I can think offhand. Mm-hmm. Diana had just left. Sue had just left. So he was in the rebuilding stage.
I just got to talk about that for a minute because a lot of people don't remember the Big East because they see kind of like now the Big East, it's all of the private type schools. Connecticut did just recently rejoined again. But the Big East really was the birth of, that East Coast college basketball rivalry. Talk to us about just your transition going from the Chicago Public League to Big East Division I high major college basketball. What was that transition like for you?
My transition was a little different because I was a Prop 48 student, so I didn't get the opportunity to play my first year. I could only practice in the games. I had to make sure I had to get my grades in order.
What can a kid do, and what did you gain experience from sitting out that year?
I gained a ton of experience. I watched so much tape with my coach. I got to practice with the girls. I didn't get to play, so that in itself was an experience in itself because it was tough on me, but at the same time, it taught me a lot to really love the game in a whole different way. But at the same time, I was able to get my grades in order. I ended up getting like a 3.0 GPA.
Wow.
Where I was able to get my fifth year back. So it was a valuable experience. Like anybody that's kind of going through that whole situation, just know it's not the end of everything. You can come back from it and still make it on top because I was able to, at the same time, I was still able to get drafted. I was still able to graduate. Even though I was not able to play my first year, I still was able to accomplish everything that I had set out to do from the very beginning.
You able to practice but not play, right?
Yeah, I was able to practice with the team. I couldn't travel with them or I couldn't play in actual games with them.
Every player don't get to experience what March Madness is about. I remember my first time I played there and we played against Oklahoma State when they had Big Country Reeves. But playing in the RCA Dome, 60,000 fans, and you're just like, it was unreal. And you played in a couple of the tournaments. What was that like for you?
It was great. It's like all your hard work throughout the season is finally paid off. And you hear your team, your college name being called during the NCAA tourney. And it's just like, it's an overwhelming feeling. It's like you feel like you elite, right? Yeah, it's a great experience. Like playing in the NCAA tournament was like, it was breathtaking because you never knew what was your last game was going to be. And so you had to leave it all out there on the court.
What was your relationship like? You told us a little bit about your relationship with Coach Gators. What was your relationship with Coach Stringer? Because again, legendary coach, but I often wondered because your style of play, you're a freak of nature. That's just the reality. Did you think when you got there, it was going to mesh with her style of coaching?
I really didn't know, honestly. I was just looking at the team prior to me coming in and the excitement and energy that they had. I was just like, I want to play for a program like this. And they had so much excitement on the court. And it was led by Natasha Pointer, another Chicago native.
Yep.
Who led that team. And so when I watched her, and who was also another mentor of mine, when I watched her, I was just like, man, Rutgers is the team to beat, really. They wanted the teams to beat. And so I wanted to bring that energy. I wanted to bring that energy to Rutgers. That same type of energy.
Wow. It's easy. All you have to do is go to mybookie.ag, sign up, and use our promo code HoopDreams, and MyBookie will double your first deposit instantly up to $1,000. How's that for fast money?
Cappie, before we jump into your WNBA career, Agee and I do a little something we call halftime. We're going to hit you with some quick hitters. So I'm going to hit you with these right first. Give me your top 3 toughest college stadiums you played in.
Okay. I would say UConn. That's number 1. Number 2, Notre Dame. And number 3, I would say Tennessee.
Oh, wow. All right. All right.
You have any game day superstitions or routines? What's your game day meal? And have you seen any crazy ones that you saw other players doing? Superstitious.
I've never seen any crazy superstitions that any other players did. Thank God. Mine was simple. I always just took a nap, showered, and had a pregame meal. That was pretty much.
Did you have the same meal every time?
I did, honestly. For the most part, I ate grilled salmon, mashed potatoes, and asparagus. That was my.
All the athletes we talk to, the GOATs, they all say the same thing. Oh, mine was simple. I slept, ate, and got ready. I'm like, okay, listen, young people, that is the key. Sleep, eat, and stay ready. That is right there. This can come from either high school, college, or WNBA. 3 toughest players you ever had to guard.
I'm going to say Tamika Catchings, Diana Taurasi, and Constance Jinx. I'm going to give it to Constance Jinx.
All right. Okay. Pull that one out. All right.
He was a tough one in high school.
Yes.
Give me your favorite sneakers to play in. 3 favorite sneakers to wear around, too.
My 3 favorite sneakers would probably be like anything that Virgil made, any Jordan 1, and any Air Force 1.
What's your best hooping sneaker?
A Kobe 5.
Oh.
That was my favorite. Kobe 5, the Kobe 8. The Jordan 13.
Jordan 13's okay.
Of course.
That leather, black and white ones.
Of course. I got a 2-part question for you. First one is your top 3 favorite rappers from the 90s.
Biggie, Tupac, and Nas.
Oh, she hit that quick like that. Then she Agee, boom, boom, boom. Now, if I'm riding down the street with Cappie Pondexter in her whip, what is playing in your car right now?
Probably some Summer Walker.
Summer Walker. That's our soft-spokenness, Will. That's our soft-spokenness.
That's right. That's when she ain't in killer mode. No, I ain't in killer mode right now.
R&B now. I love
All
R&B.
Right. But then give me your top 3 favorite R&B artists then.
Dang, that's a hard one.
Come on, the Soul Train Music Awards was just on.
I'm going to go with Usher, man, because he a legend.
All right.
I'm going to go with Usher as one of them. Oh, y'all putting me on the spot with this. I'm going to Prince.
Oh, you can't go wrong with Prince.
I thought you was going to say one, but I'm going to see if you're going to say it before I toss it at you.
Okay, toss it at me. What you going to say?
I thought you was going to say a little Mary J.
Oh, yeah. I can do Mary.
She looked like she loved Mary J, too.
I do. The 411. I was just watching her on the Tamara Hall show. You
was just watching her and you didn't remember?
It's so many great artists, but I just love all R&B. Like if you're a great artist and you got a song that just hit my soul or my heart, I'm listening to you. And there's so many great artists out there. It's kind of hard to pinpoint just one.
Caps, what's your favorite overseas city you played in?
Istanbul.
Really? Could you see yourself living there?
I could see myself living there.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious. It's like New York.
Get out of here. It's a city. It looked like that?
It looked like it.
So, Agee, we just got to ask Cap that because when she gave her answer, did you see that smile?
Yes.
Can we get the story behind the smile?
Yes. I know she I love they shopping.
I do. I love the shopping. I played there 8 years, and
Oh wow.
it was just a terrific city. They got a lot of water, and it's two sides that separate the city. It's the European side and it's the Asian side. And I stayed on the Asian side. Most people live on the Asian side, and most people just shop and work on the European side. And that's where the newer Istanbul is. That's the part that never sleeps, really.
Wow.
It stays open to 6, 7, 8 in the morning. Really, it never sleeps.
Wow.
But it's an amazing city. And I could definitely see myself living there. I would leave America and go live in Istanbul.
Is it expensive to live there? Like,
when I first got there, the dollar was like 4 to 1.
okay.
But I'm not sure what it is now.
Mm.
But before, it wasn't that expensive to live there. But now times are changing. The economy is changing. The dollar is changing. So,
Boy, if it's still 4 to 1, we all need to move there.
I think it's top 10 in the economy now, though.
It's easy. All you have to do is go to mybookie.ag, sign up, and use our promo code HoopDreams, and MyBookie will double your first deposit instantly up to $1,000. How's that for fast money? Cappie, thank you for doing halftime with us. We're going to jump into your NBA career. Now, here you are. You're getting ready for the NBA draft. And, of course, Agee and I, we got a lot of questions for you because we want to know the drip you had on that night. But before you get to that question, did you know that you were going to be, one of the top 3 picks? Were you hearing rumors? Did you know where you might end up going?
I was hearing rumors. It was kind of, I know if I would have came out in my original class, I would have been number 1. But I came out in the class that wasn't my actual class. I wasn't sure where I was going to go. So it was like between 1 and 3, between me and Simone Augustus. But coming out, there was rumors like, yo, she could go 1, she can go 2, she can go 3. We're not sure where she gonna go. But I ended up coming out number 2 after Simone Augustus. So I was still happy.
Is that important? And I'm asking that because sometimes I hear a lot of athletes say, man, I achieved my dream. But do you care where you end up playing? Do you care what number you were drafted at?
I didn't care, honestly. I really didn't. It really didn't matter to me. I just wanted to play in the WNBA. And honestly, I went to a place that I never expected to go. I went to Phoenix, and I had never been to Phoenix ever before.
What was that like when you finally heard your name? What was that moment for you?
I was nervous. I was very nervous. I was nervous going on that stage getting my jersey. I'm not going to even lie. The first thing I was thinking about, I don't want to fall in these heels. That's the first thing I was thinking about.
Get out of here.
The second thing is like, I don't want to mess up on my interview. But other than that, it was a great moment. I had my family and my friends there.
First of all, you could tell by now, I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm sure you could tell by now. But what I love about your picks, your facial expressions are different in all of your pictures. And I love that because you see a different level of intensity. And I often wanted to ask athletes, when you're playing the game, what is it that you're processing from moment to moment?
Well, I mean, for me, it was either offense to defense or defense to offense is what I was processing. It was never about the player, the opponent. Obviously, they standing in front of you, but it was just more so about my team than anything. I cared about what my team needed. Yeah. Because that was more important to me. I'm trying to win games for the ball club, and the only thing on my mind is just doing that. Especially being a franchise player for most of my career, it's all about the wins or the losses, and the city don't want to see you lose.
Did you see how smooth she said that? I'm a franchise player.
The thing is, though, she went to a city that loves the women's game, too, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Phoenix crowd is one of the best crowds in the WNBA, honestly. And it has been since its inception. They call themselves, the sixth man, the mighty Mercury. And honestly, they show up. They show up. Them fans show up. And Taurasi, she did a great job of building that momentum before I got there.
Yeah.
And when I got there, we just made the crowd even better. Everybody wanted to come see us play.
But speaking of Taurasi, she sings your praises every time your name is mentioned. But before I ask you a question about her, I just got to go back to here. So you pick second overall, you have your media day, but take us to the moment when you go into that locker room and you see your name on the back of that WNBA jersey hanging in your locker.
Man, it's like a dream come true. You know, all your hard work, everything that you work hard for is right in front of you. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is what it's all for right here. And it feels amazing to see that stuff. You know what I mean? And, you know, sometimes you can take it for granted, but, you know, in the beginning and the end, you know, you kind of remember it like the most. You know what I mean? And for me, like, I try to not take anything for granted. I try to not take no moments for granted. But anytime I see my name on the jersey, I always was very thankful and humbled.
What about your teammates? Let's talk about Diana Taurasi. I mean, y'all did some work together. How was it playing with her?
It was great playing with Taurasi, man.
Was it easy to play with another killer like that?
It was so easy. We made it easy for each other because we respected each other so much and we worked so hard together. You know, like you could find us before and after practice in the gym. We were the last ones leaving the gym every day.
I want to tell you what Arthur Agee now, because I do want you to finish that on about Diana Taurasi. But we had another Phoenix Mercury WNBA player on the show. And she said, still to this very day, when you walk into that locker room, you don't see nothing but Cappie Pondexter pictures. What does that make you feel like? And this is coming from Sophie Cunningham. She said, even to this very day, they still got so much mad love for you. How does that make you feel knowing that the organization just valued who you were, not only as a player, but a person? Like,
man, it makes me feel amazing, honestly, that they still show love to me. Even though I left them, you know, I left them early in my career, but the fact that they still show me love and I still show them love, it was just a mutual respect that we had from each other from the very beginning. But it makes me feel happy.
That lets you know that like they really appreciate it, and still to this day of what you came there and laid down and put down in front of them every night. Like they respect it and love you that much to where your face is plastered in the damn locker room still, and you didn't retire. That's crazy. That's
crazy.
Jordan-esque type shit.
first game, you wake up in the morning, what are your thoughts? Were you nervous? What was driving you that morning? Like, man, this is it. Give us that first day.
I was a bit nervous because we was on the road in Sacramento, and I was in a car accident like months before I had got drafted, and so I had my cartilage was not torn, but it was damaged a little bit. So I was really playing on bone, so I was a little bit sore. So I was a bit nervous my first game on how it was gonna be. I ended up scoring like 8 points. But I was so mad after we lost that game.
Really?
And it drove me. And I think I ended up averaging like 20-some points or something like that from that first game.
Was you mad that you couldn't perform the way you wanted to perform? Or was you mad because, you know, y'all just played bad and y'all just lost the game?
Definitely. Because I had put on a great training camp. I had a great training camp. I felt good for the most part. You know, I was having knee problems, but, you know, I was still working through them.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I was just upset that I couldn't perform the way that I wanted to perform my first game, and the fact that we didn't win.
I'm trying to get this. I'm just trying to process this. You playing on a damaged knee. You score 8 points. You mad. But the next game you come out, you killing it, but you still playing on a damaged knee. How did you mentally block the conditions you were in to perform at the high level that you did?
I just made sure I was taking care of my body. You know, I was in rehab all the time, making sure that I got the most rehab that I could get before and after every game, before and after every practice. I would just stand in the gym, really, as they call it. I would just stand in the gym, making sure that I was ready because I really wanted to win. I wanted to win at the end of the day, and I didn't really care about what my injury was. My injury was like, it wasn't like an injury where I couldn't play. I still could play on it. You know what I mean? It was just I was in pain. But I enjoyed the game so much that I had to get out there with my teammates.
Cappie, you have had so much success career-wise. 2007, 2009 championships with the Phoenix Mercury. Tell us about those seasons, and not to mention the fact, your second year in the league, you get the MVP of the finals. I mean, that's next level. Yes, that's next level.
After my first year, we lost. I went to Istanbul, and I just really stayed in the gym, and I worked really hard. I won a championship in Istanbul. Then I came back, and I just had that same mindset coming into my second year, and I really wanted to win the championship, and I believed that we could win it. Me and Taurasi both had the mindset, and we drove our team to win it.
But it got to be something special. I mean, the fact, too, 2009, well, your second year actually in the league, you get the MVP of the finals. I always wanted to ask you this because the mindset, I mean, you're playing with another great athlete with Diana. How did you stay the killer that you were? Because oftentimes, and I'm only relating this to the fact that all these years later, now we hearing, Scottie Pippen like, man, I could have been that dog, but I didn't, for whatever the reason, he didn't feel like he became that dog. How did you stay, that dog playing with another dog alongside you?
I think it was a system with Paul Westhead. I think it allowed us to be flexible, free, and it gave us so much opportunity. We shot the ball 130 times a game sometimes. His philosophy was it was better to shoot than turn the ball over. And so our system was it allowed us to have so much room to be successful.
What's so crazy about that, Cappie? I'm finna run some stuff off to you. And this is like one of the craziest runs I have ever heard of. Like, I'm still trying to find a better run than this. Listen to this. Within 7 years, you win 2 WNBA championships. Back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
Turkish championships. Then an Olympic gold medal. Then back-to-back Russian championships and Russian cups. And then another back-to-back championship in Turkey. I mean, truthfully, you don't even know how to lose.
Right.
I mean, that's your run. It's literally, it's the song. All you do is win, win, win. Talk to us about how do you sustain the mentality to stay at the top like that?
I love basketball so much, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, I dedicated everything that I had to the game. I gave the game everything that I possibly could give it. Every single moment that I had on the court, I never took it for granted. And I always wanted to win. I hate losing so much that, like, even my teammates could tell you, if you go back and have an interview with them, anybody that ever played with me, they'll tell you, oh, Cappie don't like to lose, because I made sure in practice, I gave it everything that I could possibly give in practice. I practiced harder than I did in the games, than I played in the games. But it just came easy in the game. But it just looked like naturally, like I played hard in the games, you know what I mean? But I practiced so much harder.
Yeah.
And
wow,
that's because I respected the game so much more, and I love it so much, you know what I mean? Because, like, basketball means so much to me. It's like making me almost tear up a little bit, like when I think about it. The game is crazy, and I love it so much.
Did you hear what she said? She said she loved the game. She put everything she had into it. And when you do that, for the most part, for some of them, the great ones, the game will love you back. And have loved Cappie back. It's just amazing to see.
This is my next question for you, Cappie. and this is really have a lot more to do with the mental health aspect, because a lot of women play overseas during the off season to make that extra money too, or to make probably even more money than the WNBA was playing.
Right.
What does that do to your body? What does that do to your mental capacity? Because there really is, we always talk about, ain't no off season. I mean, women's basketball, there truly is no off season. Talk to us about that and really how you handled that process.
Oh, well, I mean, mentally it's a lot that you have to deal with. Going overseas, you don't get to spend time with your family, your close friends. You miss holidays. You miss so much. I think that mentally can have an impact on you, and it has had an impact on so many young ladies that I just try to tell the ladies that, you just got to embrace the culture that you're amongst, because that can help you get through it. Because it's hard going over there for 7 to 8 months and not being able to see your family or your friends, But at the end of the day, like, you just got to be thankful that you're able to play basketball, that you're able to still have a career, that you're able to still go and make some money. You know what I mean? You got to be thankful for that at the end of the day.
Cappie, I want to jump into you went from the Phoenix Mercury to the New York Liberty, but we got to touch on your experience of coming back home and playing in the Shy for the Chicago Sky. And you're playing with Della Dunn. I mean, you go from just dog to dogs to dogs in your career, but how was it coming back home, playing for your home city?
And how did it happen?
Okay, I'm going to tell you how it happened. I literally had the contract for me to go play for the LA Sparks in my hand. I get a phone call from Patty Chapman, and she says, "What you think about coming back home to Chicago to play?" And I'm like, "What? That's kind of crazy. Let me think about it." So I took like a day. I talked to my family, and I was just like, you know what, man, I am getting older in my career. Let me see if I can bring a title home to Chicago. And so I voided the contract out with the Sparks, and then I ended up signing with Chicago. We wasn't able to bring that title home, but me and Della Dunn playing with each other was a great experience. She reminded me a lot of playing with Taurasi. And so, I thought we could bring it home. I really did. But she wasn't happy in Chicago, and so she decided to leave, and we just had to pick up the pieces.
Right.
Yeah. That was a big loss there, because y'all were building something amazing there. Talk to us a little bit about being the transitioning into your career, becoming the vet. You're the veteran on the squad now. You helping others along and bringing them into the fold, helping them understanding the WNBA game itself. What was that like for you?
It was cool. It wasn't bad at all. Like, I didn't look at it as a tough job, or as I didn't look at it in a bad way. I was just like, okay, I could take this on. Being a vet on the team, being the person everybody look up to call sometimes when they need advice. I don't mind this role at all. It was great. I thought that I was a great vet for Chicago. I didn't cause any problems. I was just making sure that I was focused each and every day. I set the example on and off the court. And we just missing a few pieces. I'm happy that they brought it home, though, with Candace.
Can you imagine, Will, a young player being on that team, 2-time champ, talking to you, telling you how to prepare, and you just sitting there hanging on every word she say, like, you the rook, listening to this vet talk?
Actually, what the Chicago Sky should have did was say, "Hey, Cap, we owe you one. Come on back and play these last 10 games with us and come get this ring." That's what they should have did.
They should have
put you in the Absolutely.
Hey, I tell you, I tell people this all the time, and I love Candace. I love what she did for the city, bringing a chip here. I love Sylvia Fowles. I love Della Dunn, but I tell them, the GOAT of women's basketball in Chicago, our Jordan starts with Cappie P, man. It's that's how much we got love and respect for you. We hold you up over any woman baller
Absolutely.
in Chicago.
That means so much.
I just want to transition now into the culture of the WNBA, particularly the business aspect of basketball. Like, what have you been up to since, you haven't been playing?
Oh man, I've been writing a lot. I've been writing a ton. Just prepping. I got a feature that I'm working on that I wrote during the start of COVID, and it's about my life story, situation that happened between me and Leon Smith, my ex-boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Finally ready to talk about it after so many years. It's in development now, and I wrote
beautiful.
feature too. So I just been writing feature film, script writing.
Where did you learn? Where did you get that passion from? Is that something you picked up when you left the game, or is it something that you always, it was a passion of yours that you always liked and had?
I've always been passionate about writing, but
wow.
I was looking for a writer to actually write the feature for me about the story, and I couldn't find one that struck home for me. And so I said, you know what? God is telling me something. Let me just write it myself. And so I end up writing it myself, and it end up being really, really good for my first one. And I just been getting a lot of great feedback from it after allowing people to read it. And so I'm not shopping it around yet. I'm just still in the developmental stages of getting the script right before I actually start selling.
Beautiful. We would love to hear from you, from your mouth, your truth. You know what I'm saying? We ain't worried about no Chicago sometimes, what they print and all that bullshit. We getting it from the source.
Absolutely.
You got a working title yet?
It's just called Leon so far.
Well, listen, we ain't gonna run down the road on that because we told you earlier that you're a legend to us. So we're gonna wait for that story. What I did want to ask you about is, again, particularly to the women's game and the culture of women's game, the growth in particular. Where do you see the women's game now compared to when you were playing?
Oh, the visibility. I see it has grown so much. Like, there's so much exposure for these young ladies. They're getting deals now. You see Paige from UConn, she just signed to Gatorade.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's huge for the women's game. When I was growing up, it wasn't anything like that. So I think the visibility that they're getting is top tier, and I think that's probably the biggest thing.
And I guess my other question is, how do you feel like Agee and I, we laugh about this all the time, but I think low key, we kind of mad that now, the NCAA letting college players get paid.
Right.
We glad they getting paid, but we be like, you know what, man, Hoop Dreams came out. We could have made a grip.
A crazy grip.
How do you feel about that? Because I'm just saying, your number was 23. I mean, you're the Lady Jordan. Have you ever sat back and said, man, the money I could have made?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If they was doing that when I was playing.
But, sometimes we got to be the martyr. Sometimes we got to be the person that sacrifices everything for the next generation. I think that's what we were chosen to do. So I'm happy with where I am in life. And I think at the end of the day, these kids are getting a better future and a better opportunity for themselves and their families. So I'm grateful that I was a pioneer for that.
Hey, Cap, let me ask you this question. Because I did a thing about, I did a Google search like probably about 2 weeks ago, and I seen how many WNBA players had their own sneakers. And I always thought to myself, I'm like, I know you rock Nike and all that. I'm like, why they ain't never get Cappie her own sneaker? But then I Googled it, and they give you, or they make you play PEs. What is that, player edition?
Yeah, player edition sneakers for every game.
So do you feel that Nike supposed to have gave you your own sneaker?
Nike should have gave me my own sneaker, man.
You damn right they supposed to give you your own sneaker. What do you mean?
But it's all good. I'll get one eventually.
Yeah, man, we need a CP sneaker, man.
I'll get one.
CP23. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. How do you feel about, and you talked a little bit about earlier that the exposure is better now. How do you think the WNBA and the women's game as a whole, what's next?
Wow. The only thing that I can see next is the money. The money. The only thing that I can really see next is a player making $1 million and not having to go to Europe and sacrifice so much in Europe and just being able to stay home. I see that. That's what I foresee because that's what I always dreamed of happening for a player. That I always wanted to see that accomplishment happen. That a player can make $1 million in the WNBA. So that's what I see happening next.
Yeah, big ups to Renee Montgomery and what she doing, becoming a co-owner of the Atlanta Dream and all of that. Talk to us about Cappie's other interests outside of basketball. You told us you're writing, your love for writing, and most people have seen. Where does creative, artistic, fashionista come in from?
I don't know. I've always just been creative, I guess.
Look how she giving that little shot laugh, y'all. You know, she, respect to our boy Virgil Blah. You know, she was real good friends with this guy. So we already know he done gave us some crucial tips, and they done talked and everything. So tell us about, where that creative side come from, and talk to us a little about your relationship with Virgil.
Man, me and Virgil, we would see each other passing. We had a working relationship through Nike. And so I would, it was funny because I first met Virgil from him DJing a lot of sets. And that's how we initially met. And then, he found out that I was an athlete under Nike, and then he got hired by Nike. And so we just always had a working relationship in that sense. But Virgil, man, he's a super creative dude. The world is gonna miss him and his creativeness, but he left a legacy behind that's gonna last forever. And for me and myself, I'm just a creative as well, and he opened the door for a lot of people like me to enter.
I love the way you express your individuality and how you feel in that day through your wardrobe, through how you dress.
Thank you.
All I know is this, Cap, that I know we was talking about creativity, but you got a little modeling in your system. Is that something you want to take to the next level?
I haven't never thought about it, but if it happens, it happens. I never say no to an opportunity. You know what I mean? If it makes sense for my brand, I never say no. But
come on, man, we could see Cappie walking that Fashion Week now.
I never thought about it.
Cap got some heaters on her page, and if you're wondering what her page is, it is CAPPA 23.
Yeah.
Go follow her right now, because it's fire. It's fire. And while you're out there, get you some of that Cappie gear. I love it.
How the gear come about, Cap?
Oh, I partnered through Will connected me with this brand called Boosted Partnership, and basically, I just started working with the designer, and I was putting out stuff every month with the designer, and it just so happened that it started doing really well.
What's the name of it?
It's my name. You can go to my link in my bio and tap in this Cappie Pondexter.
Okay. And
then you can see what it is up for the month. And this month I have mental health t-shirts and gear up for mental health.
We had you so long today, and we thank you for your time.
No problem.
But my dog got one more question for you before we let you go. He got one more question for you. Hit her with an Agee.
What's next in the Cappie Pondexter's hoop dream?
Oh, man, basically having camps for the kids. I think that's what's next for me in hoop dream. Just giving back to the children.
Really?
Yeah. Doing a world tour and just giving back to the kids.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, a legend giving back in her next chapter of her hoop dream. So look out for the Cappie Pondexter's Cap World Tour coming to a gym near you.
Cappie, I can't tell you how honored I am personally, and I know Agee is, to have you on the show today. I'm just thrilled. I've always been a fan. I'm still a fan. Share that Chicago blood. It's just so good to see you still out there killing it. Because, again, a lot of the athletes, they kind of just fade, and you stayed and you still living that hoop dream. So thank you for being on the show. Man, we love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for still being an inspiration, even after your playing days and what you're doing now. We love you and we appreciate you coming on.
I'm the goat of my era. I've been a trending topic. I'm as fly as a feather. My pockets macroscopic. See, with time I get better. I'm always in the action, kid. Know I got it locked from Chicago where the toughest live. Concrete jungle, earn my stripes on the pavement there. You make it here, then you can make it anywhere. No comparison. Your game is embarrassing. No one can touch me. I'm all for going there again. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me.
Hoop Dreams, the podcast, an Unlearning Network production. Written and produced by Arthur Agee, Will Gates, Matt Hoffer, with audio engineering from Matt Savage. For more episodes, check us out at www.unlearningnetwork.com.
Gotta be a dog to survive in this cold weather. Ice in my veins, no need for a warm sweater. I'm coming for it all, best believe I won't let up, yeah. Hey, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me.